Hey, Bezos Hashem, we're back with day 23 of our daily learning of Sichos HaRan. Thank God, still going strong. We're today up to Sicha Yud Zayin, which is a beautiful, beautiful Sicha. Really a beautiful meditation on Limud Torah. Those who have been Zohar or can appreciate the Bechinas or Makif, other people who are Zohar, to experience Torah in this way and can really feel how pregnant Rabbi Nachman's words are here, and what he is really trying to convey in ways that can't really be conveyed in words. And those who feel like they don't relate to it so much, God willing, that they should all find themselves getting to the place and experiencing Torah really as mutak midrashi in the Nofos Sufan in a very real way. Okay, so Sicha Yud Zayin. Sicha Yud Zayin begins Hofiach Echad al Hasmada Salima. Rabbi Nachman criticized or chastised, gave tochacha to a certain person about Hasmada Salima, about diligence and intensity in their learning. V'amar he said to this person, Madua lo tilmod. Why don't you learn? Ma tafsa b'zeh. What could you possibly lose by learning? What is there that you might be losing out on? What FOMO are you experiencing that pulls you away from learning in order to do other things or spend time with other things? What do you feel like you might be missing out on? Halo tekabel olam haba. After all, through your learning, you get something very valuable, very powerful. You receive olam haba al halimud. You receive olam haba. You receive eternal reward for your limud Torah. Right? Rabbi Nachman is encountering someone who is not showing up 100% of what they could be showing up at. Perfection is not expected. Perfection is impossible, but we can all show up with 100% of what we're currently able to show up with. And we can all push ourselves to do what we can do at this moment. And Rabbi Nachman is encountering a person who could be doing more and going deeper and experiencing more presence and intentionality and intensity and focus within their learning. They're capable of it, but they're not there. And so he entices this person by offering him and reminding him of what there is to gain through Limud Torah. This is very similar to what Rabbi Nachman spoke about much earlier, that the entry point to any growth in avoda really has to comes through yiras shamayim, yiras ha'onesh really. Yiras ha'onesh is the self-serving aspect of I don't want to suffer. I don't want to feel the hardship and pain of punishment. And so I should grow in my avodas Hashem and be more diligent about this or be more diligent about that, because otherwise I'm going to face the negative consequences of my harmful decisions that create distance between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So likewise over here, in order to generate positive movement in Torah, Rabbi Nachman is focusing on the candies that you get, so to speak, the candies that you get as a result of your learning. But he goes on and he says, but of course, although I'm telling you, I'm expressing to you the value of learning in terms of the rewards that you're going to get, which is necessary because apparently you're not self-motivated, you're not internally motivated to engage in Torah. It's not sufficiently enticing and sweet for you that you're naturally pulled towards it with intensity. Nevertheless, when Torah shows love to a person, when Torah shows its love to somebody, as Hashem, we should all be zocha to such a thing. Probably many of us have experienced that from time to time, and some people experience it a lot, and others experience it less. But hopefully, we all have a little bit of a taste of what it means when the Torah shows us its love. When you experience that, you have no care, you have no need for olam haba. You don't need candies. I don't need prizes to entice me into learning Torah with diligence and intensity and so on, because the experience itself is its own reward. Raksha wrote says Torah ba'atzma. When you have that, when you experience that love that Torah offers you, not my love for Torah, but Torah's love for me, the love that the Torah communicates to me, then all I ever want is Torah, and it's very hard to pull away from it. And Hasmada comes by default. It bubbles up from within because what else is there? And what else would I possibly want? V'halo. Gam Hashem is Baruch Lomad. And indeed, Rabbi Nachman says, even HaKadosh Baruch Hu learns Torah. K'moshe Mavur b'divrei Rabbeinu, as Chazal say in the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, where the Chazal say that Seder Hayom sheyesh LaKadosh Baruch Hu, God's, so to speak, God's daily schedule involves Shalosh Shos Osei Torah, the first 3 hours of the day. HaKadosh Baruch Hu learns Torah. So even HaKadosh Baruch Hu learns Torah. But in our generations, in our days, due to our many sins, Torah has fallen. Torah has fallen from this experience of just pure joy, pure av, of pure pleasure taken in the learning of Torah. And Torah is something else. Torah is something we use to get to another place. Although the Gemara, of course, tells us that Torah should not be a garden, Torah should not be a spade that we dig ditches with, that we advance ourselves with. It should be a tool for further advancement. Nevertheless, that is our reality. We find ourselves oftentimes in a place where Torah is something that is tied to outcomes and tied to rewards and tied to advancement and how it can help me and further me, even further me in terms of my avodas Hashem, even further me in terms of my olam haba. That's a better level, like Rabbi Chaim Vital says in his Akdama to Eitz Chaim. That's a better level, of course, than learning Torah for physical rewards. So learning Torah for olam haba is better lishma, is more lishma than learning for wealth and fame and power. But nevertheless, that's still a form of Shalol Lishma, and there's still more to refine there. And in our generations, that's the situation. And so when we find ourselves in that situation, Rabbi Nachman comes to this person and says, I'm going to entice you with rewards. But halavai, that we should all be able to experience Torah in a way that we experience the Ava of Torah, we experience the love of Torah for us, and the love that exudes from Torah, Kadosh Baruch Hu's love that exudes from Torah, through Torah, and thereby enter into Torah in a way that surpasses and is beyond reward and punishment and goals and purposes and so on and so forth. It's just the pure joy of the engagement towards. And it's interesting, I think, that Rabbi Nachman here brings us Gemara about HaKadosh Baruch Hu learning Torah 3 hours a day. And sort of, it seems like a little bit of a non sequitur. Why is it? What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu's learning Torah have to do at all with what Rabbi Nachman is talking about here? The fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu learns Torah is very, very nice. But what does that have to do with the idea that Torah initially is done with encouragement for reward, and halavai, we shall experience the ava, the pure ava of Torah that it has for us, and that is extended to us through Torah, and then we wouldn't even care about the rewards. So Rabbi Nosson actually discusses this Gemara in Likutei Halachos, and he raises a very obvious question, although it's maybe it's the kind of question we don't normally ask about a Gemara like this, but it's a philosophical question, it's a conceptual question, but it's a very, very obvious and important one, which he says, what does it mean? What could it possibly mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu spends 3 hours a day learning Torah? First of all, what could it mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu learns Torah at all? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Torah exudes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Torah is a product of the mind of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Torah is one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mind. It's a product of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mind. How can HaKadosh Baruch Hu learn Torah? What does that even mean for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to learn Torah? And what does it mean for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to spend 3 hours a day learning something that he, so to speak, already knows and is already part and parcel of him? How can HaKadosh Baruch Hu spend time on anything? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a ma'ilum hazman. So what's going on over here? So Rabbi Nachman says this in connection to Hilchos, Rabbi Nosson, says this in connection to Hilchos Kriya Shema. But he explained that this idea of HaKadosh Baruch Hu learning Torah for the first 3 hours of the day corresponds to the first 3 hours of the day when it is Zman Kriya Shema, right? Ad shows we say Kriya Shema up until the 4th hour of the day. So for the first 3 hours of the day, The Kodesh Baruch Hu is learning Torah. This corresponds to the Zman of Kriya Shema. Kriya Shema, Rabbi Nosson teaches, based on the Arizal, Shar Kavanos, that the function of Kriya Shema is that it draws down the mochin of Chachma, Bina, and Das into this world at the start of the day. This is how the day begins. It begins by being born of, the active part of the day is born through the activation and the drawing down of mochin, which is done through Kriya Shema. But the drawing down of mochin is a very, very intense thing. Mochin are nela. Mochin are begeder yichud. Mochin are always the things that are hidden and not revealed. And they're inaccessible, sort of, because they remain between you, they remain inside. And in order to draw them outside, what we have to do, and this is throughout the Kisvei Arizal, what we have to do is we have to give them Gidar, and we have to give them structure, we have to give them definition. The idea that a Kodesh Baruch Hu learns Torah for 3 hours a day. Learning Torah is the act of taking Chachma, taking the undifferentiated aura of Torah, and through the act of learning, which is a bechina of Bina, it's lomei davar mitoch davar, it's discerning one thing from the next thing, it's medama milsa and milsa, it's drawing analogies between different things, it's creating distinctions in order to understand things better, and it's all bechinas Bina. Or Shabbat is bechinas Bina. The limud of Torah is an aspect of Bina, is an aspect of differentiation, of concreteness, of boundaries, of structure. The act of learning Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's learning Torah, is, so to speak, HaKadosh Baruch Hu taking the Chachma of Torah, taking the unified aura of Torah, and drawing it in to a more structured and delimited place of Bina, where it can be grasped and accessed, and where it can be used to actually accomplish something. So Rabbi Nosson says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu learning Torah for the first 3 hours of the day is HaKadosh Baruch Hu taking the mochin of Torah and being mitzayer them, sort of creating a depicting them, creating structure for them, creating organization and graspable concepts through the act of limud, so to speak, so that the tov and the shefa and the bracha of Torah can be given over into a limited physical world in a way that can actually be productive and helpful. And so I think, in a certain sense, to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu learns Torah 3 hours a day, or for the first 3 hours of the day, is exactly this idea that Rabbi Nachman is talking about here, which is that to learn Torah is to initially take the massive, undifferentiated yichud and aura of Torah and draw it down into something conceivable, something structured, something discernible, something conceptual that I can grasp in my mind. And it's through Limud Torah that we take Torah and we actualize it in practice through biur halacha and understanding Torah, and therefore being able to apply and implement and practice Torah in the real world. That all requires limud. It requires taking the concepts of Torah and bringing them into practical reality and specific directives and instruction. And that in and of itself is a process of taking the aura of Torah, which is massive, undifferentiated. It's the ava of Torah, and bringing it into a much more worldly space of sar ba'onet, of I need sar olam haba, I need candies, I need prizes, I need reasons, I need justifications, I need goals in order to help push me into Torah, to bring Torah down into this world. We can't start from a place of the massive inaccessibility of what Torah really is. Instead, Rabbi Nachman is telling this person, go for the prize, go for the gumball, go for the candy, go for the reward of Olam Haba. But once you get there, halavai, once you get there, we should all be zocha to then move beyond that and be able to access the ava that Torah has for us, which is the whole point of being Messiah Torah in this way in the first place, to bring the bracha and the shefa down into the world. And that is the fullest expression of Torah. Like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or like Moshe really says to Malachi Hasharis, what's the point of Torah if we're not going to bring it down here into this world? Down here in this world is the fullest expression of Torah. But the only way to do that is, so to speak, to diminish and capture Torah in limited spaces, limited concepts, bechinas bina. And then from that, we can then construct backwards and experience the full light of Torah through that structure. Just to finish the piece of it, Shagadolim Hayu B'Derech name of the Gedolim in generations before us. The Rabbanim Gedolim Shahayu Az, the great Rabbanim and Poskim that existed once upon a time. Yodem Shin Kavanos. They had no concept of all the Kavanos, of the Kabbalistic ideas and meditations and so on and so forth about Torah. But Afal became, nevertheless, they were able to accomplish wondrous things just through their learning. Poskim with Paskin Halacha, where the Nachman explains elsewhere in the HaRan connected to this idea. When a posek is not a makubal and is not a Chassidish Rebbe, Paskin the Halacha, they are being conveyed a reality. This is Meforish in Rafa as well. The sugya of Chacham Asar and in other places as well. There's a certain siyata d'shmaya and a creation of a true reality that happens through the process of Lima Torah and the Mavara Torah and Psak Halacha. And they create something real through that, through their very sort of, we can say, even Magusham application of Torah. They're taking of Torah and bringing it down into a very concrete, delineated reality of Asr, Mutter, Chayav, Zakai, Tamei, Tahar. But they were so great and they did this in such a pure and genuine way that they were actually purveyor that reality without having to actually understand or touch or appreciate what those realities were. So, Bezrat Hashem, we should be zocha to not only learn Torah as we need to with whatever gimmicks and rewards and hooks to help motivate us to get there, but we should all be zocha to experience the ava that Torah has for kol echad ve'echad, and thereby have no need for those rewards and just be totally enamored with Torah in and of itself. Bezrat Hashem.